Hello everyone and welcome to the review of the Helifar X140 Pro. This is of course a quadcopter that has 140 millimeters wheel span. If you can call it a wheel span, it's not a wheel span, it's a diameter between the rotors. So this thing comes with propellers and another set of propellers, and it has here some nuts, zip ties, and an XT30 connector, and some heat shrink, and of course there is the quadcopter inside this plastic bag with a motor poking out. Guess what? It also comes with a small manual regarding the FR Sky receiver, which is an XM Plus. It shows how to bind it, how to set fail-safe, binding procedure, specification. That's nice to have because sometimes you actually need to search online to how to select the receiver type from your transmitter and how to bind it. Well, this will save you some time, and this is how it looks. Actually looks really nicely made. And in case if you are wondering who is Helifar, Helifar is a brand name of gear past, and it replaces the old Fury B. There's a long story why Fury B, why Helifar, why this one replaced the other. I'm not going to enter that details because the review is about the quadcopter, not about its name. So this thing, it's 140 millimeters, such as the DT Space Wolf 140. If you look at the wheelbase, they are very similar, they are almost identical, so they do have the same size and they should perform in similar ways, while this one has some improvements. Hopefully it should have a better camera. It does have this receiver which is not glued anywhere. At least it does have double-sided tape, so you can actually glue this where you want it to stay, so that's interesting. And it does have these LEDs on the rear with the speaker here, which is covered with tape, so it does not sound too hard for now. It uses an XT60 connector, which is nice. This thing will take, if I remember correctly, up to 4S batteries, and it has this really nice antenna connector here on the side with a pigtail connector, so this will lower the chances of breaking the antenna in case of a crash, or it will just break the antenna, but it will not break the PCB of the video transmitter, which is really nice. Let's see what else we get in the box. If we get something else in the box, nope, we do not get anything else. So that's it, that's all that we get with this quadcopter. It's sad to have only that, because if you look closely at the camera here in the rear, it has another plug for connecting probably an OSD selector or things like that. So this one doesn't have anything like that. You cannot set the camera OSD with a remote because there's no remote here. Maybe some remote from another quadcopter will work with this. I also like not the color scheme but the screws, because they are kind of different. They use bigger heads. You can see them here, so they have a wider area of contact, and that should improve some things. The arms are rather thick, so they should handle some crashes before they break, and they are individual arms. It's one arm per arm. Okay, so that's another joke. So they are not connected between them. If you break an arm, you change an arm, and that's good because you don't have to change all the frame. So now I'm going to do a little test to see if this thing powers on. Of course, I'm not going to connect it to Betaflight or set it up or things like that, nor I'm not going to bind it now, because that's another story. If you wish to bind it on this tiny receiver, you have this small switch here. I don't know if you can hear it clicking, you press that, it will enter in bind mode. You can connect your transmitter. My weapon of choice is the Horseman FR Sky receiver transmitter. Sorry, is the UX7. So you will bind it to that. Of course, you are going to connect video transmitter antenna. Well, not the best antenna that I have around, but it's interesting that my quadcopter came without an antenna. I think that was a mistake with this one. I think that you are going to get this with an antenna if you wish to buy it. Alright, so antenna is connected. I'm going to power on this FPV monitor, and now if I connect it, it should have image right away on the screen. Okay, I'm going to take this lens cap, and of course there's image on the screen, and it looks rather good, and it actually has some pretty decent resolution. You can see a lot of details around. Of course you cannot tell much from that monitor, but it looks really good, and the transition from light to dark, it's doing it very well, so it should be pleasant for an FPV flight, of course if you keep it in range while the signal lasts. So the OSD also comes pre-configured, so you have information about the battery voltage, the flight mode, it's in acro mode now, you have the flight time, total flight time, and a thing that I like and do not like is the fact that you actually are getting the motors in the image of the camera, so you are going to see spinning propellers all over the place when you are flying this. That's a trade-off of this type of setup. The camera is protected by the frame, but it will get the arms into view. So that was for let's say a bench overview of this quadcopter. It's time to set it up with the transmitter, define the channels, put the arming switches and things like that. I'm not going to twin the PIDs or other thing complicated, because I want to see how it flies out of the box. I do hope that it's been set up in some kind of way, so I'm going to fly it just the way it is, and you are going to see how it performs right now. So here I am with the DT Space Wolf quadcopter. I'm now going to attempt to do a short test flight with it to see how it handles. It's going to be a line of sight only for now. So this thing is on now. Let's see. Yes, it arms. Looks to be fine. Let's see. In the goggles, do I have signal? No, I don't have. I need to scan for it. And I have crystal clear image now. I'm going to start the DVR recording. DVR is now recording, so let's arm it. Let's see, does it fly or not? Right. It flies. Of course it flies. And feels punchy. So it needs a bit of trimming because it pulls to one side, but nothing bad. It wasn't calibrated or anything else, and this thing hovers really well. I'm not using too much throttle. The Lipo, it's rather too big for its size, but still flies nice, and this thing has a really nice punch into it, and speed wise it does accelerate really fast. I wonder what the flight time would be on this quad, because definitely with that pack on it and with those punches, those aren't good for flight time. But I'm not doing a flight time test with it actually. I just want to get a hold of its flight characteristics, which for now seems to be very nice, very pleasant, predictable. You can do sharp turns, you can do soft turns with it. Oh, that's good. That's very good. And has a lot of power for its size and for its weight. I'm again talking about the battery setup. It's a old 3S 1000 milliamps, only 20 or 30C, nothing extreme. And that was it. Flight is over. Battery is now officially dead in the air, and we do get some indications there. I can tell you that the used milliamps is not okay. It's not calibrated, because you cannot pull 1800 milliamps from a 1000 milliamp battery, so that's not fine. But it did flown for 3 minutes and something, so I'm going to save the DVR recording, and I'm going to disarm and disconnect it now. So there you go, that was it. Nothing extreme, just a flight test to get some footage from it to see how it performs. So it flies much better than I was expecting it to fly. Of course, that wasn't any kind of extreme test nor FPV flight, but for a racing quad of this size, I really liked it, especially the feel that this thing is kind of locked in. I have flown some other stuff out of the box, and in stabilized mode they feel like they are tied with a string and they will just float around. So I haven't set up the PIDs or anything on this. It's just flown out of the box. I just bind it, I just set the arm switch, and that was it. So for out of the box, it flies really nice. So that was it for now. I hope that you have enjoyed the DT140 quadcopter, and see you on the next uploads. Until then, bye bye.